Driving it home with Patti Vasquez, Patti Vasquez.
From global conflicts to greenhouse gases, the folks refusing to wear masks says, and politicians getting caught grabbing asses says, she's driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
Hello. Hi. It's really crappy outside. I don't know how to dress for this weather anymore. Honestly, I come in when it's beautiful. I'll tell you that it's gorgeous out. I'm gonna whine a little bit. I don't like this. I don't know how to dress for this because I didn't put away all my winter coats, but I certainly am not prepared to continue to have to wear them. I don't want to do it. At any rate, I'm thrilled to be here, joining you to drive it home. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hello to our friends listening in the evenings on KKNW 1150 AM Alternative Talk in Seattle. And I want to thank our sponsors before we get rolling. I want to thank our friends at Source Solar. Go to source.solar. Peter and Warren will be in studio on Monday, so we'll have a great conversation about solar panels, and maybe you should make an appointment to see if it's time to maybe put some solar panels on your house or business and join over 100,000 happy customers in the Chicagoland area. Again, that conversation will be on Monday. If you want to go back and review the conversation we had last month, you can check that out on heartlandsignal.com. And we also want to thank our friends at Minocqua Brewing Company. We will be broadcasting live on Tuesday, April 15th from the Madison Tap Room for Minocqua Brewing Company. Go to minocquabrewingcompany.com or follow them on Facebook. That's a great way to stay up to date on the new happenings, the new beers, and Kirk's adventures in Wisconsin trying to fight back fascism. And as you do day to day. And we also want to thank our friends at Are You Really Winning? And the way back in, go to areyoureallywinning.com or 1-800-GAMBLER if you or someone you know is struggling with a gambling issue. And I have an update for our comedy show coming up on June 5th. We are going to have a comedy show so far featuring me and comedian Paul Farvar. As I couldn't introduce myself as I'm comedian Patti Vasquez. And that's coming up on June 5th. So put that down on your calendar. I'll get the ticket information for you and location soon. It will be in Chicago, but I'm not sure what venue we're at this time. But just put a mark on your calendars or on your phones. June 5th, comedy show with Patti and Paul Farvar. We also, there's a lot going on, and I don't know how much of the, it's like, what do you grab at, right? And we're all trying to get through day to day, keep our stuff together, as it were. And I really do enjoy some of the therapy sessions that we take my son Declan to. For those of you who maybe are popping in and checking out the station or my show or aren't familiar, I have two beautiful boys. I have a 21-year-old son, Griffin, who is in college, and my 19-year-old son, Declan, who we recently discovered that a lot of the health issues he's experienced since birth is because he has an extremely rare genetic disorder. And so it turns out it's so rare. He's a 53rd person on the planet to be diagnosed with it, and I call him 53. And I am desperately trying to find any jerseys. I'm trying to find any famous players for Chicago teams that wore the number 53, and I can't find any. I just thought it'd be fun to have a jersey. I think the only name I recognize of any athletes that wore the number 53 was Don Drysdale, who pitched for the Dodgers. But that's, I don't hate the Dodgers. Just not what I want. I was hoping there was something. It's like, couldn't he have been 34th? If it's going to be a small number of people on the planet that have primrose genetic disorder, we're 53. It's just a very strange place that I'm sort of occupying these days. And we have some incredible folks that work with Declan, including his stretch therapist over at Stretch Labs. And we kind of have fun going to stretch therapy. My husband and I are there for the whole session, helping sort of Declan stretch throughout his whole body. And we end up talking to his therapist and sharing some of the adventures in our lives. And for whatever reason, I was just talking about grade school and how I used to get in trouble for talking too much. And I know that is a surprise for everyone. I got in trouble for talking too much. I also got the check marks. And the 773-763-9278, text me and let me know, or call in a little bit and let me know if you get your kids' report cards, are they still doing like that behavioral columns, like the, for us, we had talks too much in class, lacks self-control. That one I got a lot. I can't remember what the other behavioral ones. I had one teacher in 7th grade create her own column for me, which was flirts in class. I don't know. That seemed unnecessary. I mean, if I was flirting, I was talking. So wouldn't talking, do you have to make a whole separate column? But yes, I also had a lot of crushes on boys in school. At any rate, I was telling this story of getting these check marks, and my son's therapist said, so were you like that kid that always raised their hand in class? Did you always have questions? And my husband goes, I don't think she had questions. I think she just had opinions. And that would be accurate. And so you don't raise your hands. I didn't raise my hand for that purpose. And who wants to wait to be called on? So I just was disruptive and talked to my classmates, my neighbors in class. And then I was telling the story about how I went to public school first. I went to public school from kindergarten till 5th grade, and then transferred to Our Savior Lutheran School over here on the Northwest side. And I did not realize until I went to a parochial school. And I also want to know this, if you guys want to give me a call, did you experience corporal punishment in school? Because I didn't know it was a thing. Like, I was in 6th grade, and it was Mr. Z, let's call him Mr. Z, because that was his name. It was short for something else, but Mr. Z. He had 2 paddles on his desk. And here's the thing. When your teacher names the instruments with which he's going to hit you with, that seems like it's there's a lot more going on in that situation. He called them, one was Little Mo. Little Mo was, I can't believe, like, when I was telling this story, it seemed so normal to me, and the therapist's eyes were just getting wider and wider, and they were like, what? And I was like, yeah, one was named Little Mo. Little Mo was made out of pine and had holes drilled through it, like pretty sizable holes, like Swiss cheese holes, like maybe a little bit bigger than Swiss cheese holes. And the theory was that, so you were allowed to, this is so stupid, you were allowed to choose which paddle you wanted to be hit with. Yes. I mean, like, so it was Little Mo was made out of pine with holes, and then there was Big Ben. Little Mo, Big Ben. Now, Big Ben was like, maybe it was oak or something, and it was probably about, I don't know how, what was it, about maybe 2 inches thick, and it was long. It was like 10, 12 inches. This all sounds so weird. This sounds like I'm describing something else. Like, Little Mo was un petit. But the theory was like, and so we would always have conversations as, as classmates, like, what would you pick? Right? Because the thinking was that Little Mo would be more aerodynamic, so it could hit you harder, and it would be harder to swing Big Ben. The bottom line is, okay, so in 6th grade, I had transferred in, and I was a chatty Patty, I guess is actually probably the better way to put it. And, I used to remember what it was, and I probably should call my friend Terry O'Connell and ask her. But whatever it was, I said something to make them laugh when we were in 6th grade. It was Terry O'Connell and Rob Grabowski. I did something, and the teacher, so Mr. Z came over, and he would point at the student and then do this like beckoning gesture, like just like looking at the, like glowering at them. Is it glowering or glowering? I have to ask somebody. Just glaring. What did you say, glaring? And he would do this to beckon you and then point at the door that you were to go outside. He did that to Rob first, and then he went over to Terry O'Connell, and he pointed at her and then beckoned her and pointed to the door. And so they were both out there, and I'll never know. I mean, I kind of wish I'd gone back and said and asked him, did you leave me in the room to make me sweat? Because a few moments later, he came in, pointed at me, and beckoned me and pointed at the door. So we're in the hallway, and he put his arm around me and leaned in real close to talk to me. Now, the problem here was he had such disgusting and intolerable body odor and bad breath. I mean, this man was rotting from the inside. And I just remember thinking, for the love of God, just hit me. This is so much worse than what's coming next. So he's got his arm around me, kind of a big dude, but just breathing in my face. I could smell and I'm trying not to yip. And he proceeded to tell me that I had a mouth like a caboose with no engine on an endless track that went on forever. I just remember thinking, just hit me. So I got to pick. So what do you think I picked? Do you think I picked Big Ben or Little Mo, Lady B? Big Ben? I picked Big Ben. I'm like, you going to hit me? You go ahead and hit me. Hit me with the big one, baby. I just wish that I had removed my house keys because, yeah, you got paddled on the butt. Oh, yeah. That I did not get cut. It did not, but yeah, that hurt. And I'll never forget. It was just so... because I had made them laugh, and they only got in trouble because they were reacting to me. So I don't blame them at all for holding a grudge again. But I mean, I did not know what I was in the middle of. I didn't understand the ramifications. And by the way, for people who are like, we should still have that kind of stuff. Like, I never stopped talking. Mrs. Jordan, the next teacher, was the one that had to create an extra column for me in 7th grade, and like it just made me mad. Right. And here's the thing. Oh my God, I never put this connection together, Lady B. I never started physically fighting with anyone until I got hit in 6th grade. I'm just saying. I sort of, after that, like, because we used to play a game called Johnny Tackle, which, again, the school, what were we doing at Our Savior Lutheran Norwood? If I have anybody who was a Trojan at Our Savior. So we played this game called Johnny Tackle, where we would line up on either side of the field. Like, basically, when you play, like, Steal the Bacon and there's something in the middle and you run in and someone tries to grab it, but there was nothing in the middle. We just ran at each other and beat the living hell out of it. It's called Johnny Tackle. And so, like, once you tackled somebody, they were out of the game. I can't believe it. So one day, I had a button-up shirt, and I think would have been 7th grade, and Brian Manziera and I were wrestling with each other, and Brian ripped my shirt open and then started pointing at my boobs and was like laughing and everything. And Lady B, I started wailing. I don't even know. I mean, I don't even know where it came. I just started like fighting with it. I mean, just punching him, right? And I don't know if I was punching well. I didn't know how to fight. At any rate, so then Mrs. Jordan made a phone call to my parents that she needed to come visit us in our home. And she said, she asked my mother, she had, like, let's just say, to say she had an overbite would be an understatement. So I apologize to anybody who maybe has this, but this is my memory of Mrs. Jordan, who came over and she was like, I would like to know what kind of a young lady you think you are raising. And my mother goes, a young lady who can defend herself. And that was one of my favorite moments, was my mom standing up for me. And then the next day, Mrs. Jordan, who had come to our home, right, to have this meeting with my mother, we had a dog named Pepper. I love Pepper. And when Mrs. Jordan was over, I said, Pepper, go lay down, right? Go lay down. Mrs. Jordan, the next day in class, used that to humiliate me in front of the entire class, to say, I was at Patty Bonin's, that's my name, Bonin's house last night, and she told her dog to go lay down. Does anyone know why that's wrong? Why you're supposed to say go lie down, whatever. Yeah. And you know what's funny? Because it was so traumatizing, it might be go lay down. I don't even know. Like, I permanently am broken on whether it's lay something down or lie something down. And you can correct me all you want. I'm saying that the obstacle is the trauma. What happened? At any rate, these are just things that popped into my mind today. I think when we were going through so much stress, I just want a little bit of distraction. So I was just kind of reminiscing about my childhood. Did you guys get paddled in school? 773-763. Really, Lady B? Did you go to grade school? I mean, in 3rd grade, baby? No. Are they still around? Was it a public school? Oh, that's not. Oh, my God. Oh, Lady B, I'm going to come back there and hug you. I'm sorry. That's terrible. For talking too much. See, we should have told them we were practicing. This is the career I want. I want to talk now. My form of communication is this. I'm working this is a trade. I'm developing my skills. All right, 773-763-9278. Let's continue our conversation when we come back. The phone lines are open. I'd love to hear from you. And first, let's take this break.
WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
Or
and Pete.
Patti Vasquez is taking your calls now.
All right, let's hit it.
At 773-763-9278.
I got a lot to say.
It's Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Yeah, some good music there, some upbeat music. Let me get to some of our calls here. First, let me get to, by the way, I wanted to double check. Do you know when corporal punishment was outlawed in the state of Illinois for schools? January 1st. This year. January 1st, 2025. They just banned corporal punishment in schools. Jeez. Yeah, the ban was effective this year. I did not know that. The new law amends the Illinois School Code to prohibit physical discipline across all educational institutions, joining states Iowa, Maryland, New Jersey, and New York, which means what? There's a lot of schools out there in the rest of the country where you can smack a kid around. All right, let's get to Matt is in Bourbonnais. Hey, Matt, how are you doing today?
Hey, Patti, I'm doing just great. Thanks for your story.
Am I bringing up memories?
Well, the first thing that struck me is the diversity of the kids you were with. Like, was it O'Connell, Grabowski, and was it Manzarin or something?
Yeah, Brian Manziera. Are these great names? Brian Manziera, Rob Grabowski, Terry O'Connell. Ooh, you know what we had? This is the best name in the whole class. Guido Visconti. Come on now.
Oh, my God.
Come on now.
Complete diversity. That is so awesome.
Susie Selk. So I think I got them all. I probably could name everybody in my class. Yeah. I think
oh my God.
I was the only Mexican in the class, but even then I was half. So,
Amazing. The names, I was enjoying the names as much as enjoying the story. But
yeah.
I had a similar experience, third grade, Mrs. Tatum. She had an aerodynamic paddle.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
With the holes.
But her target was your hand.
Oh, God!
She would take your dominant hand. She would have you hold it out.
No.
The palm up. And then smack it. And I'm telling you, and then you went back into class with tears in your eyes and a throbbing dominant hand, so you couldn't do your schoolwork.
Oh, my God.
So then you got in trouble with that, too. Oh, yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
What kind of
school? But it only happened one time.
Were you in a parochial school? What kind of school were you in?
Steuben Grade School is a public school. So, yeah, it was...
Yeah, Lady B says she got hit.
Public.
Yeah, she said she got hit in third grade in a public school. I did not. At Onhan, which is a public school, I transferred out in fifth grade. I spent a lot of time in the hallway and standing in corners. I'm just saying, a lot of time for self-reflection. Yeah. I didn't mind. In the hallway? You kidding? It was like a party. People walking by, going to the bathroom. Hey, where are you going? Hey.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and it always left little holes in your hand where the drill holes were. They would swell up a little bit. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, who supplied these? Who supplied these for our teachers that they had this array? Do you want something aerodynamic? Do you want something with a little heft? What is happening?
Well, that's probably for the teacher conference room, wherever it was, the break room. They probably talked about the different paddles they'd use. Yep. This is what I do. Oh, yeah, you do that? That's a good idea. I need to do that, too.
Just exchanging ideas, coming up with innovations.
Exactly.
Oh, you know what really works? Oh, my God.
Exactly. You know what really brings the tears?
Oh, man. Okay, so let me tell you about Rob Grabowski. So Rob, actually, I was thinking about this. Rob got hit again because this is the worst thing I ever, I remember just thinking of the injustice of this. His dog died. And I don't know if anyone told the teacher, but he was I don't know if he was talking about his dog. I didn't sit near Rob. I was B, he was G. But he was, for whatever reason, the teacher found him to be disruptive and he got paddled the day his dog died, which I thought was just the cruelest thing. Isn't that awful? Yeah.
That's trauma.
Yeah, exactly.
That's got to be trauma.
At any rate, thanks, Matt. I'm so sorry that happened to you.
Thank you,
That's awful.
Patty.
Absolutely.
That's okay.
Yeah, I'll keep it up. Thanks. I'll keep talking.
All right, please do.
In your face, Mrs. Jordan and Mr. Zielinski. Talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah, a lot of teachers had to put up with me. Let's get to Jim in Chicago. Hey, Jim, what's on your mind, my friend?
Hi, Patty. I had so many that I couldn't count them all. But real quick, geometry class, Brother Josephus made me kneel on my hands for the entire hour.
Oh, my God.
So
you didn't kneel? So, were your hands,
on the
forward?
palms of my hand. I had to get on my knees and put my hands underneath my knees and stay, for an hour. But I had so many great ones.
My dad had to put his arms out at 90-degree angles, and the nun put books on his hands. Then he had to hold those for his, he couldn't lower his arms below 90 degrees. I don't know I can't remember how long he had to do that. Yeah.
Well, I've been in many, I was a boxer as a kid, many barroom brawls. But the hardest I was ever hit was a freshman in my geometry, my biology class. Come on out here, Jim, I want to talk to you. Well, he sucker punches me in the hallway.
Wait,
I'm 14.
what?
He's about
Who did?
Sucker punches me. It's a teacher.
Oh, my God.
The biology teacher sucker punches me, but I've never been knocked down, but I was almost knocked down that time. I was knocked against the back wall. So I left school, and then I told my mother, Jesus, I had to get out of there. But I went back and toughed it out. But think about these poor people in the private prisons. They had a woman on today, Patty, from Canada. She did at least 2 weeks in a private prison, no explanation. She said that at least 100, 200 women in this facility. Absolutely deplorable. I mean, you couldn't even live in it. And she had a little muscle, a little juice with the politicians and whoever it was. And I think she had some hacking experience or somebody, or agent or somebody came. So they finally made a deal with ICE that she would pay her airfare back to Canada if you let her out. So they thought it over and said, okay. So she got on a plane, went back, but they barred her for 5 years from coming back to the United States of America. Now, the Republican Gestapo was going to look into our social media posts, any emails that you might have said 8 years ago or something. And I mean, it's the Gestapo. I mean, think about what if one of these dictators in the early part of the 20th century, you can name them all, Stalin, Hitler. What if they had social media posts instead of tapping your phone? And they tap your phone. I imagine if your cousin said, "Oh, you said something bad about Stalin," the next thing you know, you're in either shot or you're in Siberia. But social media posts, think of it. How many people, I mean, nobody on earth, I've never been in a conversation in 8 years that Trump's name hasn't come up in that conversation. I don't care if we're talking about the White Sox or we're talking about anything. But Trump comes up in every conversation that you're involved in. Yeah. You know, I've got a 98-year-old aunt who, she'll say how you feeling, et cetera, et cetera. But look, she goes, well, this Trump was insane. They're eating cats and dogs, and I mean, but my point is, you can't get through a conversation without this guy being mentioned.
I know.
I mean, he's omnipresent and all.
That was, it's funny. It's one of the reasons somebody asked me on the way in if I could give a diversion for a minute. So I thought I'd share the story that I was reflecting on with my son's therapist. We'll come back to it. I promise. I know we can't, but I want to take a break.
Yeah, but here's a quick one. Anyway, I'm in geometry class, and the class is going nuts. They're throwing spitballs and everything else. And Gallagher was the teacher. So I'm sitting way in the back of the room, and when everybody was done, when everybody was real silent, I bust out laughing because it was so funny. It was just the scene was so funny. So he goes running down the aisle, and he goes, "One of my own countrymen." He starts swinging at me, So I'm ducking the punches. He was Irish. He knew I was Irish. So, I mean, it was funny because because I wasn't involved in the spitballing and the throwing airplanes and all that stuff where he's trying to get control of the class. But once he got control of the class, everything was real silent. And then I bust out laughing. And then he goes, "Oh, one of my own countrymen." I was running to answer me. Anyway, Patty.
Great.
Anyway,
Thanks for sharing your memories. Thanks, Jim.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, man, someone just messaged me. I grew up down the street from Onahan. I also went to Our Savior Lutheran. I was there for 1st through 4th grade in the early 90s. No behavioral check marks at the time, as far as I remember. Maybe they phased them out, or you didn't receive any check marks, so you wouldn't remember that we had them. At any rate, let me take a break here, and I'm going to take all of your phone calls when we come back. 773-763-9278. Tell me what's on your mind, or if you want to share some memories of corporal punishment and or being a troublemaker in grade school, high school kind of stuff. More after this on WCPT and KKNW.
This is WCPT 820, where facts matter.
DuPage County continues to get out the vote and elect progressive candidates, so it's no wonder that there are now several local retailers carrying progressive beer from Minocqua Brewing Company. Be sure to grab yours from Famous Liquors in Lombard, Armanetti Beverage Mart in Roselle, Doty Liquors in Elmhurst, and Bobby's Liquor Warehouse in Carroll Stream, conveniently located next door to the DuPage County Democratic Office. A full list of Illinois locations that offer the Resistance lineup of beer is posted at the top of the Patti Vasquez Show Facebook page, as well as at MinocquaBrewingCompany.com.
Patti Vasquez is taking your calls now.
We need to speak out about this.
At 773-763-9278.
Hello.
It's Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Man, this is my conversation about corporal punishment in grade school when I got paddled in 6th grade. When I honestly, I wish I could remember what it was that made Terry O'Connell and this is a flaw that I have. So I don't know if I'll be hearing. Terry and I are still friends. Rob Grabowski and I, we had a reunion, a grade school reunion years ago, and maybe I shouldn't go into it, but Rob Grabowski has a different recollection. He remembers things differently than I. So we all played Spin the Bottle in I want to say 7th grade, and we played. That was it was so weird to go to this school. At Onahan, I remember we played Truth or Dare a little bit. I maybe had my first kiss, I think, in Gina. Our friend from Bourbonnais will love this. Gina Tomasello. A lot of Italians in my neighborhood is all. A lot of Italians, a lot of Germans, a lot of Irish. But I got my first kiss in Gina Tomasello's basement playing Truth or Dare, and we played Spin the Bottle. And Rob remembers it as me being really excited to kiss him when I think he was reading that. Completely opposite of what the situation was. Maybe I was trying not to show my sheer disappointment of not getting Jeff Goodrich. I don't know. Let me get to Myrna. Hey, Myrna. Thank you for calling in today. Are you staying hydrated?
I'm trying to. How are you?
I'm hydrating. Hold on, let me got my ice cubes and my water right there.
Okay. I ask that you not hang up on me until after I finish making my comment, please.
Okay, so here, I want to ask you a question. Were you teeing up for a joke with Joan? So I was listening, and I know. I think that it's not, sarcasm is not easy. It's subtle, and I think she was coming off hot of a mean text too. That was because I heard her before the break, and then I heard you, and I was like, oh, Myrna went right into the buzzsaw. So, well, here, Myrna, go ahead.
Like I mentioned to Lady B, you will listen to a portion, whereas she didn't. She just cut me off completely. And I was like, and I kept saying, wait, Joan, and she just
Myrna,
going off, and I was like, wow.
So that story I've been telling about Declan. So my husband tells me that I'm telling that story wrong, right? So the emotional setup sometimes to a story or a joke is sort of because you were trying to do a head fake, right? Is the best way to put it. So you started with the paid protesters, right? And rather than have you heard that they're saying they're paid? You know what I'm saying? I'm just telling you as a comedian, it's hard because she didn't know you were coming in with a joke. She wasn't expecting that. Do you know what I'm saying? That's why.
But the thing is, I'm a regular caller. She knows I've never done anything against. She knows where I stand, and to just completely cut me off. Anyway, let me just tell you what I was going to say to her because it involves you too.
I will turn my mic off. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay. I called because we all know that, everyone that goes to these protests is paid. We also know that everyone at WCPT pays their listeners to listen to their show. And I'm calling because I haven't received my pay for the last 2 months.
See?
You nor Patty.
See?
That's what I was trying to get to. And she just
I know.
had taken a little breather, she would have had a good laugh after that crappy.
Myrna, I have to remind folks, we're unscripted, right? We're walking a high wire. We're managing a lot of emotions. We got nasty things sometimes coming into text because we do want, like someone asked me if I can just ignore the mean texters. But the thing is, we read them to see what's pertinent to the conversation and what we do want to put on the air. So we can't, I used to do this at WGN, and they would filter them out and just print them out and give them to me, and then I would read them. But then I had a producer who was manipulating those, which was not helpful. And not that would happen here, but But Lady B's in another room, so and Joan is broadcasting somewhere else. So there's a lot to manage without a script, without knowing and not. Will, like sometimes you've heard me had enough with people and look, I've done it to our own regulars. You heard me go off on Roosevelt, right?
Oh yeah.
Hi, Roosevelt.
Well, yeah.
I'm just saying. So
the difference here, you allowed him a brief moment to make a comment prior to that. You didn't just cut him off.
I know. I'm just.
That's what I'm trying to. Like I said, I'm not trying to compare you two. But I'm just hoping that she's listening so that she sees the difference between, especially coming from a regular, that, you allow them just a tiny bit to see where it's going. And then it's not going where you think.
I'm going to ask you to soften your heart on how that exchange went today. And it was a blip, okay?
I'm okay with it. I just, I waited a little bit to see if she commented anymore because I did send her a text after. And the first one, it was like she blew me off. The second one, I listened and then she didn't reply, so I just turned the station off. But I'm cool. I have no problem. I'm not holding anything against anybody. And I thank you for allowing me this time. But the reason that I called, I'll make this quick. The reason I called, I mentioned to Lady B, there's a thing, I need to send it to you. In Los Angeles, a couple of days ago, ununiformed agents went to a school.
Yeah, first graders, Myrna. How crazy is that?
Yeah, and the reason that this is so important is that a lot of people don't know this. When you're stopped by a law enforcement person, no matter what level, you cannot lie to them when they ask you a question. And if you do, they can hold that against you. But the Supreme Court has ruled that police and anybody involved in law enforcement is allowed legally to lie to us. So that's why it's important that when they say, their parents, in this case they said that the parents gave them permission, you have to remember that they can lie as much as they want to. So don't believe everything that law enforcement.
Yeah, they lied. They lied to the principals. They said that those children who were unescorted minors who came into the United States and now have legal guardians, right? The law enforcement, for folks who haven't heard this story or maybe missed what Myrna just said, ICE agents told the school administration that the legal guardians had given them permission, which was a lie. And this is awful what they're doing. Yeah, it's how traumatizing.
It's important that people understand that law enforcement can lie to you legally per the Supreme Court. So keep that in mind whenever someone says, it's okay, they gave us permission. They can lie to you, even though it's not true. They can do whatever they want to get what they need from you. So just be careful about stuff like that. So again, thank you for the time. I appreciate you allowing me to give my side of what happened.
As long as you promise not to, we're going to let it go here. We'll bury the hatchet here with me, okay? We all have different styles. Yeah, Tom, look, I've heard Tom cut off people who were not. I've heard him cut off like Steve from the Gold Coast and Paul. I mean, I've heard him cut off our regulars. It happens. I do it sometimes. We are the writers, the directors, the editors of our show, and we're doing it in real time. And it's a tap dance, believe me, on a high wire, holding a lot of plates, and I don't know, on one foot. Just saying, thank you, Myrna. Have a good night. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye. Let me go to Steve in Displays. Hey, Steve, you're on the air. What's on your mind, my friend? Hey.
I hope that I'm considered a regular. I think I am.
Steve, I would say Steve in Displays is a regular. Not for nothing, Steve, but I've been looking at houses, and not that I can move anytime soon, but I think about when I move out of our home, if I'll stay in the neighborhood, or I would probably go to Displays or roundabouts there.
Yeah.
Do you like it over there?
It's affordable.
How's the airplane noise over by you?
Well, actually, when they changed the configuration of the airport. Displays kind of got a little bit of a reprieve, and then Park Ridge got beat up a little bit when they changed the runways.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So, I mean, Displays is pretty big. I mean, when you guys are ready to buy, come take a look around. I think see what you like.
All
for
right.
sure.
I got friends that live over by there, so I like it.
I'm hydrating with my Diet Dr. Pepper.
Excellent. Got my Diet Coke. All right. I said water earlier. I lied. It's Diet Coke. Sorry.
I got a couple things here real quick. In grammar schools, Catholic school, this is 1967, 66. So it was a different time, a different era. I got my hands beat with a golden metal ruler.
Oh.
Okay. Whacked.
Wow.
Whacked. Boom, boom, boom. Yep. And then in 8th grade, I got whacked on the back of my thighs with the same golden ruler.
Jeez. So. That's awful.
Yeah. And when I was in Catholic high school, and I think that's changed now because a brother is not a priest. He's like a kind of a semi-priest. They call him a brother. And he was dean of men. His name was Brother Ronald. I saw him pick a guy up and slam him against the lockers. I mean, seriously, there was serious corporal punishment there. And the stuff that they did then, they go to jail for now. Yeah. You go to jail for now.
You'd hope. Look, I mean, they just stopped. Look, we say that, but there are parts of Illinois that were really, and not just with corporal punishment, restraining. Mm-hmm. And they would do this in schools with kids with like psychological issues, intellectual disabilities. Right. They were strapping them or putting them basically in padded rooms during school.
Sure.
I know. I looked at one place for Declan, and I was like, absolutely not. They had a room just with mats on the walls and a heavy door, and I was like, no, this is not going to be for us.
Yeah.
But that has been legislated against. Go ahead.
Yeah, good. You might get a kick out of this. And at the protest last Saturday, I was down in the Daily Center with a friend of mine, and this woman, she's like 5'9". She kind of stands next to me, and she looks up at me, and she she turns around. She says, "Look around. You'll never guess who's standing behind us." I turn around, and right behind us in that crowd, I was kind of like on the corner there near Washington and Dearborn, like on the street curb because we couldn't get any closer. Beto O'Rourke was standing right behind us in the crowd.
No, that's cool.
Yes. How about that? I shake his hand. I go, "How did you man just sneak in the crowd unnoticed?" And he laughed, and he says, "Well, I'm doing a speech this weekend. I just happened to be here in Chicago during the protest in town." And within 5 minutes of us talking to him, it's like for the next 2 hours, it was a photo op with everybody coming up to him, in the crowd, So, but it was cool. It was kind of cool. What are the odds of that? What are the odds of that
that's
happening?
wild. That's very cool.
Yeah, cool.
Did you have a sign?
Yeah. I didn't have a sign, but my friend had a sign, and it was a picture of Anne Frank in Making Germany Great Again. Remember when they were making Germany great again with an Anne Frank picture?
Yeah.
Kind of a somber sign.
Sad.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Honey, take care.
Take care. Thanks so much. And that's Steve, our caller, Steve from Displays. We got Steve from the Gold Coast, Steve from Displays. We got Steve from Chicago. Look at that. We got a lot more Steves. All right. Let's take a break here and see who's on the line next. 773. Maybe it's you. 773-763-9278. That's 763-9278. You can call or text on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal. Hello to our friends in the evenings on KKNW 1150 AM.
You're listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
Patti Vasquez is taking your calls now.
All right, let's hit it.
At 773-763-9278.
I got a lot to say.
It's Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Oh, man. The The phone lines keep ringing, and our text screen. Oh, I didn't mean to cut that off so quickly. Let's just gently. See, there's a difference. Let's do a moment of production. This is me rolling. Like, here's me quickly turning off the music. Right, bang, too much. That's too hard, right? Or I could do just a gentle. Oh, we'll just fade that out. Oh, look at that. Just roll that down. That's really the only skill I have behind this board. I push the button on, roll these things up and down. Lady B will tell you, like, all these other buttons. I'm like, what does that do? What happens if I do this? Coming up on the show, we are going to talk to our friends. From Timeless Toys, coming up at 6:30. I don't know if you've seen this video. I don't know who the people are on Fox News. Honestly, people will tell me, like, the drunk one, like the judge or whoever. I couldn't name, and like I don't know who these people are, but there's that one with the eyelashes, and then there's the one with blonde hair, and there's the guy with the tan. At any rate, it's the one where they're all on the couch. I don't know what that one's called, but I saw this clip where one of them was talking about toys for kids with autism, and how someone he knew, the price had gone up because of the tariffs and how terrible it was. Like, they were all kind of frozen on the couch. And yeah, I mean, the thing is, the tariffs are not just making the markets unstable and causing distrust around the world, but it is going to hit you in the pocketbook. I don't know any other way to put this. And so we're going to talk to the owner of Timeless Toys and talk about how the tariffs are affecting small businesses, because, man, these people are always talking about how we want to help small businesses. Small businesses can't flourish without deregulation, and we got to do everything. And we should be doing all the things that support small businesses and help support their workers, and continue to bring revenue into our communities. At any rate, we're going to talk to our friend from Timeless Toys. That's coming up at 6:30. We're going to check in with. Let me make sure I've got names right. Scott Friedland is going to join us at 6:30, and coming up at 6, we're going to talk to Jeff Hack, who's the farmer and owner of Funk's Grove Heritage Fruits and Grains in McLean County. I want to talk more about how we can possibly, shop locally, support our local farmers, producers, creators, and yeah. At any rate, let's get back to the phones. And here's Roosevelt in Chicago. Roosevelt, don't tell me you got paddled too.
Howdy.
Did you get paddled?
Yeah. Oh no, but I got lots of stories for you guys. Okay. I think I mentioned this before. Grammar school was in Mexico, and Mexico grammar school is only up to 6th grade. Then you go to high school. So 4th grade, we have this teacher. Oh God, this guy was tall, handsome, and he was going out with another teacher. She was short. It was like the Odd Couple. So this guy, his way, because over there in Mexico, in those days, your parents would give permission to the teacher to hit you. He had this big ring, just Super Bowl ring, like the Super Bowl rings, and he would turn it around, and you didn't know where you were going to get hit, but usually he would hit you in the back of the head with the ring. Now, these days, that's abuse. So that's one way. Second way, he would tell you if you did something wrong, he would tell you, you see that tree? Because, when we had recess, there's trees all over, beautiful trees. And he says, I want you to go climb that tree, and I want you to bring me a branch. He would take the leaves off the branch, and he would say, now lift your pants up. So you lift your pants up from the bottom, right? And he would hit you in the back of the leg.
Oh, my God. So that people couldn't see it? Or, oh, my God.
No, that was the point. It was to deter other kids from doing anything. So he would do it in front of the class.
Oh, my God.
Come on up here. Oh, yeah. That's number 2. And what was the other one? That's the worst of it, I guess.
Oh, you're making me remember. So, it's funny? I just remembered the first time I got smacked by a stranger. My mom never hit me. My dad spanked me when I was 5 for the I thought it was the stupidest reason. But now, looking back as an adult and where he was in his time in life, I kind of understand it more. But that's a story for the book. But when I was 3 years old, I just remember this, Lady B. I went to preschool, and I know this is hard to believe. I was a little it was all about me being disruptive in class. It was nap time. And we had remember those cots were on the metal frames with the stretched canvas, right? They were green with silver legs, right? And so we had them at this preschool, and there was a girl that I always wanted to talk to her. I don't know what it was about her. I always wanted to be around her. Real pretty girl with blonde curly hair, and so the teacher, we had 2 rooms. We had the big playroom and then like a table area with a big pendant light hanging down. And so she dragged me in between the tables, so I was right under the light, and she was yelling at me and pointing at me, right? And I stuck my tongue out at her, as you do when someone's yelling at you and pointing at you. And she slapped me hard. Oh, man. And I wet my pants. I wet my pants. Yep. I mean, why? I was 30. It's not funny. I'm fine. I'm totally well adjusted. I remember this. This is one of my earliest memories. I remember this. So I remember her pointing at me. I might have been 4, but I just remember her yelling at me, pointing at me. My mom will tell you it's the truth. I remember she put my pants and my underwear in the Wholesome bread bag. Remember Wholesome? It was that orange and blue.
I remember that.
Yep. That's it's all about talking. These teachers didn't understand that I was practicing, Lady B. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Hey, that was that was your I'm thinking in Spanish now. That was you paid your dues back then, huh? Hey, listen, I got the third one. I just thought of it.
See?
He would tell you, come on up.
Yeah.
Yeah, here's a third one. Of the teacher would do this. He would say, "Come on up here," and everything had to be up in front, and it would face the rest of the kids. And back then, boys were on one side of the school, girls there was no girls. So luckily, it was just boys. So he would tell you, hold these books. So you have to stand there and hold 6 books, heavy books, and do not drop them, because then you would get the you would get the ring.
Yep.
Yeah. So he would tell you to hold them for a certain amount of time and don't drop them. That was, and it usually was because of what you just said, which is, talking in class and not shutting up or disrupting the class.
Yep.
That was the usual, let's say, wrong thing that I would do. Not me, but maybe I don't remember getting hit. Maybe I did get hit once, but I don't remember. But I do remember seeing other kids, though, getting that. Oh, that must have hurt.
Yeah.
Getting, with that little switch, Oh man, that's gotta hurt. And you would see, all red behind the leg of the boy that would get the punishment. Oh. Hey, what were you guys talking? I tuned in when you guys said Roosevelt. To be honest with you, what were you guys?
Nothing. We were talking about regular callers.
Oh, okay, all right. Oh, it wasn't all bad, I guess.
It was not at all bad. It was that sometimes, we because we are the writers, directors, and editors of our show, sometimes we have to make decisions on the fly that may not necessarily be what you want us to do. How's that?
Hey, yeah, that's fantastic. Hey, Patty, real quick, what did you think of the orange chicken that backed off?
I know. You know what's so funny? I love watching the ping pong logic of MAGA, because they're like, yeah, we want tariffs. We need retaliatory tariffs. We're being tariffed and we need to make it even. And then he rescinds it like, yeah, that's right, because they blink. No, what is negotiating? He said 2 days ago that you don't back down in a negotiation, and then he backed down, and then they're like, he's right. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't. This is so stupid.
Patty, I know you're running out of time, but Patty, real quick, his secretary of press secretary is a liar, just like him. There's no difference. All of them are liars. That's one of the qualities that you have to have in order to work for Trump. You have to be, thank him, and you have to kiss, and you have to be loyal to him. But one thing you have to be is a liar, just like him, because they're all lying. That's it, Patty.
I gotta go. Let me see if I can get Debbie in. Thank you, Roosevelt. Debbie. Hi, Debbie. What happened in preschool, my friend?
How are you? I have a story from preschool. I never took naps, and we had moved to a new neighborhood, and there was a preschool right at the end of the block. So my mother said, said, okay, well, why don't you, we'll put you in the preschool because next year you'll be in kindergarten and it'll be good to make new friends. So I go into this preschool, into this like nursery school as we call it, and it's time to take a nap. It's in the afternoon. It's time to take a nap. And I don't take naps. I never did. So the teacher gave me a book, locked me in a bathroom stall, and made me sit in the bathroom stall with a book until the naps were done. It was so... Oh, you have no idea. It made me never want to go to school. It made me never want to go to school again. I cried and I cried, and she had no mercy. She just locked the bathroom stall. And I wasn't smart enough to figure out, well, I could get under here, but
No, and you thought you couldn't. No, because you thought you couldn't. Oh, Debbie, I'm so sorry. I'm so grateful that you shared that story, and I almost feel kind of bad that we started this up, but also I think that we also know that we weren't the only one and that they did the wrong thing. I think that's,
it's good to know. Yeah, right.
Thank you, Debbie.
And my father my dad only hit me once in my whole life, I remember, and boy, was I mad.
Right? That's the thing that just made you mad. Well, we're better now, aren't we? We're totally better now, aren't we? Completely well adjusted. Take care, Debbie. I got to run to our next break and news. Have a good evening. Let's take a break here and come back with our friends from Funk Farms.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
Driving it home with Patti Vasquez, Patti Vasquez.
From global conflicts to greenhouse gases, the folks refusing to wear masks says, and politicians getting caught grabbing asses says, she's driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us as we continue to drive it home. Sometimes when there's a pause in between a commercial or leading into the show and the theme song, sometimes I'm trying to get back to all of the texts, and one of our listeners was asking about how many texts I get during the show. I try to get to all of them. I try to read some of them on the air. I don't get to do all of it, but especially for our regulars, and there's some very sweet ones, and I just want you to know I love you too. So thank you very much for those kind words today. This is a good day for the text screen, so I enjoy that. And I want to thank our sponsors for making these conversations, the text screen, the phone calls, our guests on the show, the topics that we cover. They make sure that these conversations happen. And we want to thank Source Solar. Go to source.solar and maybe make an appointment and see if it's time for you to put solar panels on your roof of your home or your business and join over 100,000 customers in the Chicagoland area who are happy with their decision to go solar. We're going to have Peter and Warren on Monday, April 14th. They're going to be in during the first hour, so make sure you're tuned in. And if you didn't catch our first conversation, please go to heartlandsignal.com, and all of our shows are posted there, including that standalone interview with Peter and Warren from Source Solar. Next Tuesday, I will be at the Minocqua Brewing Company Tap Room in Madison, Wisconsin. We'd love to have you join us. We'd love to have a crowd, have some excitement. That tap room has become kind of ground central for organizing in the area around Madison, indivisible Wisconsin groups, some of the people who are organizing more protests to come. So come and work with some of the folks there or learn what they're doing and how they're organizing. That'll be on Tuesday. Again, we will broadcast live from 5 to 7. And then maybe if you go, there's some great restaurants around there. I have to say, I'm a big fan of Sardine and Tipsy Cow. Oh, there's been a couple that I really love. So we'll talk more about that. Again, go to MinocquaBrewingCompany.com and maybe pick up a nice T-shirt that says, they've got some really good ones. My husband has a Yoda one that says, "Rise We Must," and I kind of like that. Or "Resist We Must." Yes, I like that one. And so I have Viva la Resistance is another one of my favorite shirts. Or you can maybe order some Woke coffee, some Nope Seltzer, among other things. And we also want to thank our friends at the Way Back In. We've been having conversations about problem gambling. And it's been really, I know that I rarely ever talk about my father's struggle. So it's been great to have those conversations with our friends. If you or someone you love is struggling with a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER or go to areyoureallywinning.com. Again, that's areyoureallywinning.com. weekdays.com. And now I want to turn. And then the Kids Above All. We're having our comedy night on June 5th. Right now it's me and Paul Farvar. Details to come, because that means I have to book the other comics. I have to figure out. Dwayne did it last year. So this is Paul's first time. I have to rotate through. So let me know if there's any comics in the Chicagoland area you'd like to see. Let me get to our guest on the line right now, because you know how much I love talking to our local farmers, our producers. We've got on the phone with us. We've got Jeff. Jeff, how do I pronounce your last name, my friend?
Hake, H-A-K-E.
Hake, how you doing, Jeff? And Jeff is a policy organizer for the Illinois Stewardship Alliance. And he's a farmer and owner of Funk's Grove Heritage Fruits and Grains in McLean County. And thank you so much for joining us today. First of all, did you grow up in Illinois? Where'd you grow up?
I did not. I'm from Massachusetts, actually.
Oh.
I'm a long way from home.
Wow, that is a long way from home. What brought you to Illinois?
I originally moved here to take a job with the Land Connection, which is a farmer training organization in Champaign. Okay. And then just as I was thinking about moving back near home, I met my now wife. Hey. And I moved away for a little bit, and then I moved back for good.
Oh, I love Massachusetts. So did you grow up in farming, in ag?
Not at all.
Oh.
It's not even really like a generational thing in my family, but I just grew up and I've always loved plants, and eventually that just led me to agriculture. So here I am.
Okay, hold on a second. So you said, what do you mean you liked plants? Like as a kid, you were like, just picking leaves, or wanting to know what like, can I eat this? Like, what do you mean you like plants? Like you like gardening?
I've just always been fascinated by them. We had a 1-acre yard growing up. It was kind of in the woods, and I just loved wandering around the woods. I could do that for hours. I had my first garden when I was probably 6 or 7. My parents didn't really my parents encouraged it. They let me cut down a couple trees and have my own little garden. But I've always been fascinated by plants for as long as I can recall. Very consistent.
Man, see, this is something that I don't like having regrets. It's just wishes, right? It's something I would have liked to have been able to raise my sons in a sort of environment like that. Did you have siblings? Do you have siblings?
Yeah, an older brother and older sister. They also like gardening a lot too. They're not as obsessed as I am, but I mean, they both also grow a lot of their own food. They raise their kids with good food and gardening and all that kind of stuff. So it seems to run in the family. And my parents do garden too.
Yeah.
But for me, it's another level, and I'm really happy to have got to spend almost my entire working life with plants or farming or gardening or what have you.
Yeah. So when did in high school, were you also doing in classes, or was it more when you got to college you were able to really go full throttle and learn more?
When I was in high school and then going into college, I was more focused on landscape horticulture. So I thought I wanted to be more like a landscape designer kind of thing. But I mean, when I graduated, I actually I graduated high school. I dug up a pine sapling and attached it to the mortarboard that I wore during graduation.
Okay. That's great.
That's the level that we're talking about. But then when I got to college, I got really interested in social justice issues. And landscaping doesn't really feed that need to be making change in the world, because you're mostly designing landscapes for people who have a lot of money. And combining an interest in food and plants and social justice eventually led me to want to study agriculture. And I've been involved in that ever since I pretty much finished undergrad.
Oh my gosh, fantastic. It's amazing. So tell us a little bit about the work that you do as an advocate here in Illinois then.
Sure. Yeah, so I've been a policy organizer with the Illinois Stewardship Alliance for the past year. I've been a member of the Illinois Stewardship Alliance for many years before that. But the Illinois Stewardship Alliance is a statewide organization of farmers and eaters and food system leaders who focus on policy change, especially at the state level, but also at the federal level, especially lately, to work towards a more just and regenerative food system in the state of Illinois. So this is really doing the work to organize people on a large scale to get them to, weigh in on what they would like to see our state policy look like, and then contact lawmakers and write bills and get them passed, and create better programs and better policies to create a better food system in Illinois.
And pardon me if I missed it. How long have you been working with this organization?
Yeah, just a year. Okay. And I'm on a part-time basis, but we're a strong staff of 10, and could easily be more soon because there's an awful lot of work to do.
Sure.
But it's a really wonderful nonprofit group based in Springfield, and I'm really just very lucky to be a part of it. It's been a great year.
How is this legislative session then? So this is your first in this with this alliance, working with legislators. Is that right then?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So this is starting in January.
I kind of got my feet wet last year, kind of being a part of some campaign teams, some policy campaigns. But this year was my first year really getting into it, and it's been a ride. I will say, because we have a team, so everyone has their assignments, and I will say that my job during this legislative session has been easier than some of my coworkers.
Oh boy,
who have really been put through the ringer to try to get bills negotiated and through both chambers and through committees and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, in that process, it's also been amazing to see how smart and resilient and creative the people I get to work with really are to make these things happen. It's been a really fascinating process, and we've had some really great updates just in the past week or so for the bills we've been working on. Yeah, that's great. I mean, do you have some legislators who like you see them just sort of like try to hide around a corner when they see you coming yet? I mean, I think that's what success actually kind of looks like, right? I think that's right. I think we're starting to get to that point. We have both like folks who we know are people that we can count on to listen to what we have to say and to have our backs. And that's a really wonderful asset to have. And then also there are those ones that are just like, oh boy, here they are. They're calling again. They're sending me emails. They're sending the letters. Yep. So yeah, you get a bit of both. Yeah. I remember there was a senator. I used to go down to advocate for individuals with disabilities. And this guy goes, "You're back?" That's a great feeling. Oh God, not you again. It's funny you develop relationships with some of the people down there, and it's just like, oh, hey, there you are again. Yeah. It's just like you're kind of like at home at the Capitol in a certain way. Yeah, that both are good. You're right. It is a sign of success when they're like, oh God, but it's also when they're like waving you over to the table, like at the Globe, or the restaurants have changed a lot. The bars have all changed a little bit since I started going down there. But do you want to tell us about some of the we don't have to do any of the negatives, but do you want to tell us some of the legislators who are really being champions, or at least willing and helpful in this situation in your legislation? Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the two that I would point to as like really great proponents for us, they're both Dems that I'll mention first. So Representative Sharon Chung, I'm actually where we are just outside of her district, but we were actually kind of friends before she became a legislator. So now like we're buds, and like I'll see her in Springfield. And so it's like, hey. And she'll come down and visit me in the Grove sometimes, and it's great. And then her associated Senator Dave Taylor has been very supportive as well. And in fact, we got to have a meeting with him on Tuesday, and he just welcomes us all into his office. He, talks the talk, walks the walk. I mean, he used to own an organic bakery. He understands our issues and is always on our side, and is always willing to help us understand how the sausage is made down there, and help us navigate the whole thing. And then on the other side of the aisle, also my senator is Senator Sally Turner. She's a Republican, but she really gets food and farm issues. And I can have conversations with her about just cooking and canning. It's just a very friendly conversation. And, I was down there. I don't think I've seen her or her legislative assistant, Barb, 3 or 4 times in the past 2 months. And it's always just a nice conversation. And sometimes I'm there and I'm like, I know I'm supposed to be advocating for this bill, but you've asked me a question I don't know. And she's like, oh, I'll just look it up. And so she's just looking it up in, the state database about what the bill is we're talking about. She's just a really earnest person, and she's there to listen and give you her feedback if she has it. It's a really nice relationship, and I appreciate that a lot. I'm so glad you told us. That was, for folks who are wondering, the legislators that he was talking about. I believe you said Rep. Sharon Chung, Senator Dave Taylor, and Senator Sally Turner, correct? Correct. Excellent. Yep. Yeah. Hey, let's get these names out there so folks are aware. Let's take a break here. I want to learn more about the work that you do and more about Funk's Grove maple syrup, pure maple syrup. Syrup. Do I say it differently than syrup? Syrup? I say syrup. Syrup. All right. Let's find out more about that as well. Let's take a break here and continue our conversation with our friend Jeff Hake. Correct? Yep, that's right.
I always want to make sure because I second guess myself. All right, more after this on WCPT 820, Heartland Signal, KKNW 1150 in Seattle, Washington, and KTNF AM 950 in Minneapolis, St. Paul. We'll be right back. We're glad you're here.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
or Pete.
From city streets to political beats, you're driving it home with Patti Vasquez, where progressive talk fuels the ride.
I don't think I pushed that button before. Thank you, Dan Levy. That's a great intro to our segments. Joining us on the line is Jeff Hake. He's a co-owner of Funk's Grove Pure Maple Syrup, which is located in Shirley. Is that in Shirley, Illinois? It's between Bloomington and Springfield. Is that right, Jeff?
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. So tell me, before we go back to talking about policy and the work that you're doing in Springfield, I do want to make sure we talk about Funk's Grove Pure Maple Syrup. Tell us a little bit about getting into this business and what you guys, I'm so excited to learn about maple syrup in Illinois.
It's a pretty unusual thing. So I want to just clarify how all that business is arranged first. So Funk's Grove Pure Maple Syrup has been around since the 1890s. What? That's my wife's family going back many generations. I'm new here. I'm not an owner of that business. There's a separate farm that my wife and her brother and I have called Funk's Grove Heritage Fruits and Grains.
That's right. I combine them. I apologize. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
No. It happens all the time because they're very hand in glove. They're two separate businesses, but there's a lot of overlap. We both do things for both farms. So it happens a lot. Don't worry. Okay. So Funk's Grove Pure Maple Syrup is my wife's family. They've been making maple syrup since the 1890s. It's been in the family that whole time. There was a little blip in production around World War II with the lack of labor and the sugar tax and everything. But otherwise, it's been a mainstay of Funk's Grove for all that time. It's right on historic Route 66. It's about 400 acres of trees that we tap. We strive to make about 2,000 gallons a year. We don't always hit that mark, but we make a lot of maple syrup, and people love coming out to see us every year. The locals come out, and then we get the tourists coming out in the summer. It's a really fantastic operation, and the woods that we get to tap our trees on are some of the most beautiful, old growth hardwood trees you could find. And right now it's spring and all the spring ephemeral wildflowers are up, and it's just a really stunning place on earth. I'm really lucky to get to be here.
I just love, so Jeff Hake started this conversation when we asked him where he grew up and said he just has always loved plants. I love that you came to Illinois and married into a family that's been doing this since the 1840s. I mean, come on, Jeff. All roads have taken you into this wonderful adventure of your passion, and I love that for you so much, and her family as well.
Yeah, it's really funny because I never actually helped make maple syrup ever in my life until I left New England, which is a thing that it's known for. And now I'm in Central Illinois, where it's the biggest maple syrup farm in the state, and also one of the only ones that I get to be a part of it. It's pretty unusual, but it does feel like this was fated to happen, that I get to that I would wind up here.
That's fantastic, and I've driven past signs that say Funk's Grove, and I've always been curious, and now I must go. Do you have Well, first let me ask you this: you don't happen to know Susan Dannenberger from Dannenberger Family Vineyards, do you?
I don't think I've actually met her, but I know the farm you're talking about, or the vineyard. Yeah.
Yep, they're not far. I mean, like, there's so many, like, wonderful, like, so many wonderful farms in the state and people who are doing the work that you're doing, like Nick Nagel up at Whiskey Acres in DeKalb. I mean, like, I need to have more conversations with all of you because you're doing such tremendous work. And so folks can come and, I mean, like, you've got, like, recipes. By the way, folks, in the Chicagoland area, Village Farm Stand in Evanston, the products are available from Funk's Grove right there on the shelves and for online ordering. And I just want to make sure folks, we'll go to Funk's Grove, funksgrovefg, right, .com? No, HFG.
Right. So it's funksgrovehfg.com is for our other farms. That's all of our value-added products we make from the grains and the fruits that we grow.
Yep.
And then funkspureMapleSyrup.com is for the maple syrup farm.
Can they explain to me why syrup is spelled with an I? I just...
Yes. No, before I do that, I just want to say one thing really quick because you said it and I can't miss the opportunity. You mentioned Whiskey Acres. One of the cool things that the maple syrup farm does is that Whiskey Acres sends us bourbon barrels. We age maple syrup in their barrels, and we make bourbon barrel-aged syrup. Yeah, it sits in there for 6 months, and we have to turn it. We have to wax the barrels and everything to keep the syrup inside. And then we bottle and sell bourbon barrel-aged maple syrup, and it is killer.
I didn't even know that Whiskey Acres was involved. And I mean, I just love these people so much. I love you guys, all of you. Susan, you, and Nick, it's fantastic the work you do in Illinois because it's always because we kind of think of as farming as sort of being like I think people still think of it as like I don't know, Little House on the Prairie with an ox and a plow.
Right. Right. It's a little bit of that sometimes, but it's a lot more than that too.
Sure. Well, go ahead.
Yeah. So the spelling with the I. So you imagine we get that question a lot. Occasionally people are like, you spelled syrup wrong. It's just like, do you really think that we spelled it wrong? Do you really think that's what happened? So the explanation for that is that's actually an older way of spelling syrup, and the implication of that spelling is that it's basically a pure, unadulterated product. So there's nothing in that but maple syrup in our product. That spelling has kind of gone out of fashion, but if you look it up in Webster's or whatever, that is still an accepted spelling. And the SYRUP actually implies that it has some kind of coloring or adulterant, additive, something like that in addition. And so it's meant to imply that this is a pure product, Funk's Grove Pure Maple Syrup. Okay.
I can't wait to try some. I love that. And folks can order products online as well.
For ordering stuff from the syrup shop, you actually just give us a call. You'll likely talk to my mother-in-law, Debbie Funk. And the number for the shop is 309-874-3360. Okay. And you just place an order over the phone, and we'll ship it to you.
Why do I have a feeling that the town Shirley is named for somebody from the Funk family?
There are some Shirleys in the family. For sure.
I figured.
There are.
I just figured. Is there anything we can do to support the work that you're doing with legislatively and to learn more about the Illinois Alliance?
Yeah, absolutely. We're in the thick of the legislative session now. And so just this past Tuesday, we did a food and farm advocacy day where we brought a whole bunch of our members to the Capitol to meet with lawmakers, to advocate for bills. They held a press conference for the good food purchasing policy. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention also that Representative Sonia Harper, who is the chair of the House Ag Committee, has also been very supportive for years of all of our priority bills. So I wanted to make sure I gave her a shout out too. And so she's been the champion for the good food purchasing law, which has been a whole journey during the session to get that to be a bill that can pass. And she's also championed the Small Farmer Restoration Act, which is another priority bill for us. And reforming processing exemptions for Illinois livestock farms has been another really important bill for us, championed by Rep. Charlie Meyer. So all those bills are doing pretty well, going through session, getting through committees, moving through chambers, all that kind of thing. So the best way to find out, get the latest scoop on what we're up to is either to follow us on social media or become a member of the Illinois Stewardship Alliance. So if you go to ilstewards.org, that's how you can learn more about what we do, become a member. or just ask us questions. And also, following us on social media. It's just Illinois Stewardship Alliance at IL Stewards. We're keeping people up to date as much as we can. There's a lot of motion right now, but it's good stuff, and we just really encourage people to check in with us. And if they like our priorities, then please get in touch with us and find out how to support what we do.
Absolutely, folks. I'm so glad to have met you and look forward to having more conversations with you and visiting you down in Funk's Grove. And please don't hesitate to reach out when there's something coming up that you want to make sure people know about, okay?
Okay, that's great.
Excellent. My best to your family, and we will definitely talk to you again soon. Thank you for educating us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Anytime. Have a great evening. Take care.
All right. Thank you. You too.
Thank you. Bye. Bye. Let's take a break here. When we come back, we're going to check in with our friends from Timeless Toys. Scott Friedland will join us to talk about the impact of tariffs on small businesses. More in a moment.
Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Hi, this is Patti Vasquez. We appreciate all our fans of Driving It Home, and your support of show sponsor Minocqua Brewing Company ensures that our important conversations continue right here on WCPT each weekday from 5 to 7 p.m. You can now find the Resistance IPA, Labor Lager, or the Resistance Pilsner beer at several Illinois locations, including Armanetti Wine and Spirits in Woodstock, Pineapple and Company in North Riverside, Lions Beverage Depot in Arlington Heights, and MP's Liquor, Wine and Beer in North Aurora. For a full list of Chicagoland locations, please visit MinocquaBrewingCompany.com. As always, please vote and drink responsibly.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
You know, with the tariffs that were announced, look, Trump ran on this, so this isn't something that anyone could be surprised. It is amazing how many people are experts, and I have to say, I think the real experts are the ones that are experiencing firsthand what the implications are of tariffs. And I'm so glad that our friends from Ripson reached out to us to let us know about Timeless Toys and to have this conversation with our friend Scott Friedland. Hey, Scott, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
You know, hanging in there. I'm staying hydrated. I should really stop asking people how they're doing. Are you hydrating, Scott?
I should be hydrating more. Yeah. That's the truth.
Yeah. First of all, you have such a spectacular shop. I used to live in Lincoln Square. I love that area so much. It's changed. I used to live there in the 90s, so as you know, it's changed a lot. And I've purchased things for my kids, for my friends. We love you at Timeless Toys. So thank you so much for the great work you do for the community and for our families.
Oh, well, thank you for supporting us. You're the reason we're here.
There you go. So when you heard like the talks of tariffs like last year, were you starting to think about what that was going to mean for small businesses like yours?
Yeah, you know, we started thinking about it last year, obviously, during the election cycle. But it was kind of a holding pattern, right? You never know what's going to happen, even when someone gets elected. But it was on the top of our mind kind of going into first quarter here during the buying season for us.
Yeah, I would imagine. But there's not really, with the erratic nature of how this has all happened, this sort of, it's coming, it's going to be, it just must feel like people don't get what the human impact is going to be for business owners, right? So tell us a little bit about what this experience has been for you and the people you work with.
Well, I'll say it's kind of a whirlwind. It feels like being on a roller coaster here. Because I'm a sales rep as well as a toy store owner, and so every day it's constant communication back and forth with the manufacturers as to what's happening on their end. What price increases are they going to pass on to us as the retailer? And, what's their timeline as far as they can see it. So it's just constant communication right now. It's leaving us very little time to actually run the business because we're busy emailing back and forth, trying to figure out the prices, what the future looks like. But, it's something that we keep in mind while we're buying. During the first quarter was the biggest buying season of the year for us until holidays. And knowing that this was potentially coming, and with 80% of all toys being made in China, we saw the writing on the wall, and we figured, during the season, let's buy a little bit more. So we actually doubled our stock at the beginning of the year, trying to hope that one, we can work out better deals with the manufacturers this way with the buying power, and we could hopefully save the customers money throughout the summer until we see what's going to happen.
Whoa. And so you buy the extra stock so that you've got that in anticipation of it. What kind of alerts are you already getting? What kind of communication are you getting as far as like how this is going to change in that? Because now it's up to my understanding, it's not 125 as we heard yesterday. Did I hear right? It's over 150% tariffs on China now.
Yeah, that's as of today, I guess. So, it depends on what the manufacturer is doing, really. Some manufacturers are renegotiating their prices with the actual manufacturing facility. So they're trying to eat up some of that cost so it doesn't get passed down to the end consumer. So we won't see that full tariff come all the way down with the negotiations happening. But there are going to be small increases as we go forward. And honestly, I was talking about this earlier today. You mentioned Rifson Group. I was talking with Chris Combs. That impact is actually double on the consumer, right? If the manufacturer charges or gets charged an extra 100%, they're going to charge me 100% plus because they have to make their margin to keep their facilities open. So the consumer is going to get even more of that, right? It actually ends up being almost a 200% impact on the end customer that's buying the product and using it. It's crazy.
Yeah. And I don't want to get into it with like what we're seeing, the idea that this is going to spur manufacturing in the United States. I mean, come on now, right, Scott? What are we talking about?
Yeah, I have a hard time seeing it spurring manufacturing in the United States, especially within the toy industry. Yes, there are a lot of United States-based manufacturers, right? But the bulk of the toy industry is actually European manufacturers. So their main market is not even the United States. Their main market is Europe and Asia. So for them to be able to open up manufacturing in the United States doesn't make sense for their whole big plan, right? And even the people who are manufacturing in America, they still have things like office space and light bulbs and desks and trucking equipment and manufacturing equipment and those types of things, which again, those pieces are going to come from other countries too. Some of them might be coming from the U.S., but we can't be 100% U.S. sustainable. So even the things that are made in the U.S., I think we're eventually going to see those prices go up, although we're not right now. And we'll see how that pans out.
It was, I don't know if you caught this clip, I guess, on one of the news channels that I don't generally watch. Apparently they were talking about they were frustrated. They had heard from somebody that toys for children with autism were, the prices were already going up, and it kind of struck me because I have a child with severe disabilities and I have bought, like I said, items from your store that we have cherished in the past. He's 19 now, so it's been a minute, but those are like it's interesting, like what people. How it impacts, right? Like someone might think, timeless toys, like I don't think people understand like the place that you hold in the community for families like mine, people who have memories, but also everyone's always talking about like, I wish that a business would go in over here, or, I don't want to buy a big box anymore. Well, here's how we support small businesses is by not making it more burdensome for owners like you, right?
Yeah. And for me, of course, there's some burden, but the real burden does come back on the end consumer, right? And that's my main concern, right? Is one, I need to get toys into the hands of the end consumer. That keeps us in business. But two, at Timeless Toys, we really dedicate ourselves to the educational side of toys. As you said, like we are focusing on kids that have, learning disabilities, that have certain setbacks, and that's what we're here for. We're the experts, and the reason Timeless Toys exists is because we truly believe in the educational and learning power of toys. So if families out there can't afford toys, yeah, that's going to hurt my business, but that's going to hurt my true belief in what I stand for more than just the business. and my entire staff too. So that's why we're doing everything in our power to make sure that we can get the toys in the hands at a reasonable price to the consumers. You know, it's going to be 2020 all over again, where we pulled out all the stops and did at-home delivery and curbside pickup and all these things that we adjusted to. There'll be different adjustments this time, but we're in it for good, and we're here to make sure that everyone gets the toys for their kids so that their kids can stay growing and stay developmentally challenged.
Is it with that? You know, is there anything that you would encourage folks to do? I mean, I don't even know what we can do. This just seems so it's out of our hands, and that must feel so frustrating. I don't even know where to begin with trying to help owners like you.
It's absolutely out of our hands, right? And the one thing I would say is support your local businesses, right? We are the ones that donate back to the schools, that donate back to the community. We're active in our chambers of commerce and the community functions. So, you know, and our employees live in the neighborhood. So whether it's Timeless Toys, another toy store in your neighborhood, a gift shop, or whatever it is, get out there and support the local businesses. You know, we are the residents. We're the people here helping this community get through, and the community is helping us too. So get out there and support local. That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah. I right now I am wearing a shirt designed by Hairbrained. I don't know if you know the guys that do the STFU about Chicago. You're not even from here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have my Superdog shirt on from Hairbrained. I get most of my stuff. Like if I'm buying gifts, I go to Rep Chai Toys. I'm going to Timeless Toys. Folks, you can also, everyone can shop there, folks. And it's, by the way, Easter's right here. So go to timelesstoys.com. That's timelesstoys.com. They've got such a great selection for Easter. I want to make an Easter basket for myself. I'm going to get this Millennium Falcon. Hold on a second. Okay. Anyway.
First of all, you totally can. We make Easter baskets and mystery baskets for adults all the time.
Yeah.
Especially during holiday season when people are doing like a white elephant, they order the $100, mystery basket and tell us that it's for adults. We love that. It's so much fun to do.
Oh my, I need this shirtarium. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this is fantastic. You guys go to timelesstoys.com, and you guys ship anywhere in the country?
Oh, we ship all around the country. We ship to other countries.
Nice.
You know, if you want toys, we'll make sure to get it to you.
I'm so glad to have talked to you about this topic, and please don't hesitate to reach out. Have Chris or Lisa reach out if you have anything you want to talk about or promote. We'd love to have you back on. And I wish you and everybody at Timeless Toys and all the small businesses in our communities. I wish there was more we could do. But like you said, the best we can do right now is shop local. Stay away from those big stores. Go to your local. The money stays in your community, and if it's not your community, you're still supporting local. And I really appreciate the work that you guys do.
Well, thank you. We appreciate you having me on, and hopefully we'll be back soon and talk about some better news.
Exactly. Let's do that. But I'm also here for the bad stuff.
All right. Yeah. We can talk about both.
Exactly. We'll do a little bit of both. Have a great evening. Good to talk to you, Scott.
Thanks, you too.
Take care. Let's take a break here, and we'll wrap up in a moment on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal, KKNW 1150 Seattle, Washington, and KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. I know that our friends in Seattle get an hour of the show, so I should catch them up so that I don't sound crazy when I talk about corporal punishment in schools. We started the show talking about how I got a lot of trouble in grade school for talking too much. And again, I know that no one would be surprised. I don't know what it is. I don't know. Like, I embarrass, especially my son Griffin when we're in public. And I've been much better. I'm starting to, like, the voice in my head's going, that stranger doesn't need to hear from you. They don't care what you have to say. And so I've been much better. It's just weird because I get it. Like, when strangers talk to me, I guess it depends, right? Like, on what the nature of the conversation is, what the tone of it is. But I just like to talk to people my whole life. Like, my mom will tell you, when I was little, I would talk to strangers. My dad told me once, I've never been able. in my memory to speak Spanish fluently. But as a child, before kindergarten, I understood Spanish. My mom's from Mexico. My siblings were living with us, my half siblings, and they all spoke Spanish. But they taught me Spanish incorrectly, Lady B. I don't know if I ever told you this, but Alejandra, don't use the words on the air. I know the swear words in Spanish, but she would do this. She would point to my mouth and say ojos, ojo, right? That means eyes, folks. She would point to my nose and go boca, right? Yeah, nariz. Yeah, she would give me all so I basically had dyslexia in Spanish. I didn't I knew all the wrong words for body parts, which was just my sister Alejandra. I don't think she's listening. At any rate, my sister Alejandra is 21 years older than I am. And I think, Mommy, for listening, I hope I'm not taking too many liberties here, but she resented that she had to take care of me while my mom was going to school, and was not a very, she would take my fingers and bend them all the way back to where my knuckles would touch. I'm double jointed, so I guess she was fascinated by that. So if you're watching, I used to be able to touch my fingers to my wrist, and at any rate, there's that. But, I didn't speak Spanish fluently, but I understood Spanish. And apparently this woman was yelling at her son. And I was 4 or 5. And my dad said the little boy didn't speak Spanish. So I went over and explained to him what his mother was saying. But what 5-year-old goes and helps another kid out? That's who I've always been here, let me help. I've always been kind of hey, what's going on over here? I've been like that my entire life. I've always wanted to talk to strangers. So in grade school, I was also very chatty in class. I think that was so funny that my husband said today, somebody asked him or asked me if I was always raising my hand in class to ask questions or to answer. Ooh, I know. I was not Horshack. I was I was not that kid. I guess I didn't want to talk to the teacher. I wanted to talk to my friends. I didn't care what the teacher had to say. But Steve said, no, I don't think she had questions. She had a lot of opinions and didn't have time or patience to wait for the teacher to call on me, which would be accurate. You know what? I did always hate being asked to go to the board to do math problems. I hated that because there's just so much pressure to be in front of everybody. I also hated spelling bees. I hated spelling bees. We have, let's see. I want to catch up on some of our texts here today. Easter basket. So someone is recommending, one of our texters, Joe, is recommending for Easter baskets to use small potatoes dyed, make awesome eggs. Oh, I like that idea. So rather than painting eggs, you can dye small potatoes. Use food grade coloring on small white potatoes. They're cruelty free and even better for the environment. So dye small potatoes with food dye. I like that idea a lot. Sarah, thank you so much for sending pictures of the pooches that you are grooming today. She's a dog groomer, mobile dog groomer, and I appreciate that. I don't know if I was supposed to say the name on the air. Oh, now I shouldn't read all the texts. Karen Nolan, who's also watching on Facebook Live, shared one of our posts on the Facebook page for the Patti Vasquez Show. We've been getting a lot of conversation going on. One guy used the R word, said that we're all ours, and so I am trying to decide what to do next with my petty Patty adventures, because when people are really mean on social media during the election for the Supreme Court of Wisconsin, I was dedicating doors in the name, another 25 doors. It kept me fired up. So what else can I do now? Because one woman who slid into my DMs and told me to go F myself. I went to her page because a lot of folks have public pages, so I could see that she was in search of corned beef for St. Patrick's Day, and I had just gotten home that day with corned beef, so I took a picture of myself in front of my fridge with the corned beef package and said, "Oh, I'm so sorry, so sad that you won't have corned beef. Mine's going to be delicious." And we actually made a video of Elliot eating my very delicious corned beef and rubbing it in her face. At any rate, so there's one guy who said some really nasty things to me. So on his business page, I just shared a screenshot of the nasty things that he said to me. I don't know if I should do that. I'm petty, but I don't know if I should. I don't know. What suggestions do you have for me on Facebook? We'll have to work through this. If someone's going to call me the R word or he actually said we all are the R word. Just trying to figure out because we don't have any elections coming up right now. So, maybe I can give something to Steve Goody to make a song and put some of their names No, because then that's sort of like amplifying them in a song. I don't know. And if anyone's got some ideas, right? I can't ding dong ditch them. Isn't that sad? You can't ding dong ditch anymore because everyone's got ring bells. I mean, I feel bad for these kids. They're not prank calling anybody. The things that we did as kids, prank calls, ding dong ditch. What else did we do when we were talking earlier about Corporal Punishment? So now you can see I did a lot. I got a lot of trouble for prank calls. That was bad. Is your refrigerator running? Well, you should catch it. Terrible. What was the Prince Philip one? What was the fit in a can? I can't remember some of these things. We did some really stupid things. I'm just saying. I want to talk to everybody. When I was a kid, I would call your house and say stupid things. All right. Say it's not true. You want to move out of the center, or otherwise called Gladstone Park. I don't know. 312. I'm not sure. It will probably be here for a while. I just, how do I put this? I don't live in a community where I can work with my electeds. How's that? And I would really like to be able to do that more. But I do work with electeds in other districts. My two state electeds are really reprehensible, and I just don't have any desire. I mean, like, personally have caused trauma to me and my family, and I'm not interested in working with them, and I'd like to be able to do that in the future. So that's one of the reasons, amongst other things. Okay, here's one of the reasons. I don't know what's happening with the businesses in this neighborhood. So do you know, Lady B, they're opening up a hookah bar at Milwaukee Avenue and Austin near St. Tars, which is fine. I mean, like, hookah bars are all, or I don't know if they're hookah bars or hookah cafes, right? So there's going to be one. I don't know if folks are familiar with this neighborhood. When you walk out, do you look around and go, you know what this place needs is a hookah cafe? You know what these folks, you know what these Polish neighbors and these Italian neighbors and these German neighbors and these Irish neighbors, do you know what they could really use a hookah cafe? So they're opening one at Milwaukee and Austin, and they're opening another one a block from here, Lady B. So within 4 blocks, we're going to have 2 hookah cafe, which is fine, and I wish them all the very best. But I don't understand what's going on with the business development on the Northwest side. Like, there's a laundromat in the area that has, I swear to God, it has like 400 washing machines, and I count how many people are in there. I'm like, what do we do? What opening over here? And we can't get like a used bookstore. We can't get. I mean, there are definitely used bookstores on the Northwest side. There's one I believe just opened on Lawrence. We got some great cafes, and then there's like empty storefronts. There was an empty storefront with like a dead pigeon trapped in the window for like year, right? It is rotting. A bakery closed across the street from a dispensary. How do you not keep a bakery open? Okay. The hookah, I haven't talked about the hookah cafe thing because, I mean, God bless you. Start a business. 3 blocks from each other in this neighborhood. People, you know what I really want? And look, it's other people starting businesses. I'm not a good business person. I really wish we could have something like the Logan Arcade, you know, with the retro video games. Come on now. Oh, how about a roller rink? Wouldn't a roller rink do great on the Northwest side? Oh, that reminds me. I have some folks who reached out about roller derby. I gotta reach out to them to be guests. Okay, we gotta run. Thank you, KKNW 1150 AM. Thank you, KTNF AM 950 for listening on WCPT 820. Thank you to Source Solar, Monaco Brewing Company, and The Way Back In. Lady B, love you. Good night, everybody.